To build a query in VLO, you'll need to go over to our query builder page. To do so, you can click to open the navigation bar along the left side here. And for the purpose of this video, we'll go ahead and use the voter data. Well, once you are on the query builder page, you'll see the different count types at the top of the page here. So let's go ahead and select unique individuals. And you'll see when I click the run count button, the system will begin calculating how many records there are in my selected state that match with that data count that I have selected. And then moving down from there, you'll see along the left side here are the various data points that we have available in VLO. The very first one is the jurisdiction data. And that data will primarily be focused on political designations such as city district, congressional district, etc. But it will also include zip codes as well, which are postal designations. And if you are working with a congressional office, you will likely have a preset filter on your query builder that will limit your searches to your specific congressional district. And then moving on from there, the next option down is the demographics category. That category will focus on groups within the population, such as age, gender, or ethnicity. Moving down from there, the next option is the party data point, which will focus on political party affiliation. You'll see that you can specify which political party that you want to target. And moving on from there, the next option is the vote history data. And the vote history options will allow you to add search parameters based on past election behavior. So if you want to see, who voted in the 2017 general election, you can specify that here, and that will allow you to query on specific elections. You'll see along the left side here are the various election years, and then the column headers will pertain to specific elections. And moving on from vote history, the next option down is the mail/email options, as well as the phone options as well. And so these two categories pertain to the contact information for the records that we have in this database. And so be aware that if you want to include email addresses or phone numbers, specifically mobile phone numbers, in your query, those may incur additional costs. So be aware that you can find our pricing in the help section on the pricing page, but if you are you're a user with a contract with Aristotle for your VLO usage, those terms of your contract will affect the pricing that you can expect to pay whenever you pull lists out of VLO. And so the next option down is the models section, which pertain mainly to percentages or probabilities. And be aware that using these data points will also likely incur additional costs if you don't have it included in a contract. And moving down from there, the next section is the micro-targeting, which are essentially specified profiles for voters. So let's say if you want to target voters who specifically support Second Amendment rights, you can find that type of data point within the micro-targeting section. And so these options under micro-targeting are kind of your more specific options that you may be interested in. And then moving down from there, the next tool is the geospatial tool. And what the geospatial tool allows for is to query based on a specific geographic location. And so if you want to, let's say you just want to target voters around a specific city, such as Montgomery in Alabama, you can click on the arrow here to select a shape, and then when you click and drag your cursor over the map, that'll create whatever shape you have selected, which you can then update your query with, and the system will target any records within that geographic location. And then moving down from the geospatial tool is the custom searching option. And essentially what the custom searching tool does is it'll give you a list of every field that we have available in VLO, and then you can query based off of that instead of having to go through every of the other data points that we have available. Now let's say there's a field in the custom searching tool that you're not quite sure what it refers to. You can always download our data dictionary, which will define the fields that we have in the system, as well as give you the valid values that you'll need to run a custom search. And if you don't want to use that link to download the data dictionary, you can also find it under the state summary tab as well. Just go to state summary and then over to summary, and then you'll find the data dictionary right here under there. And then moving on, the next option is the dedupe tool that will allow you to compare your current query to any files that you have purchased in the past. So if there's any overlap between your current query and a previous list, you can use the dedupe option to make sure that you don't purchase or download the same records a second time around. And that tool will come in handy if you are trying to build lists to send out mailings. And then the next option is the query snippets tool, which will allow you to have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to building queries. So let's say, for example, if I use the vote history options, if I select voted in 2017 and in 2016, and then update my query with that, you'll see that the system will by default target voters who voted in both elections. Now if I wanted to target voters who voted in one or the other, that's where the snippets tool will come in handy. And for these last three options at the bottom here, if you are interested in any of these options, we will have additional training videos specifically for those. So be on the lookout for those if those are options you may be interested in. Now let's say you want to save this query because you're not done with it, but you need to navigate away from the page. You can do so by giving the file a name. So let's say I name it AL file, and then click save. And then if I want to come back to it later on, I'll just have to go over to the query manager page. Now once I'm in the query manager page, you'll see that my AL file appears right here. And so to load it back into the query builder, I'll just have to click the load query button. I can either load it back into the original state that I built the query in, or if I have access to other states as well, then you can load it in for a different state. And so once you have your query loaded back in, you'll be able to make changes to it as you see fit.